and welcome to From Market to Table. Today I'm joined by Patty Jo, and we're making some of our favorite easy recipes for you to use. I'm going to start off with a pulled beef. It's a great recipe to feed a crowd. I had the meat department this morning cut me up a roast. I'm using a sirloin tip roast today. The recipe does call for a chuck roast. The chuck roast is a little bit more fatty, so I chose to go with the sirloin tip. So what you start off with is 6 pounds of sirloin tip. I have them cut it into thirds so it cooks evenly and quicker, and if you leave it in the whole chunk, it won't cook as fast, and sometimes it's more tough. You're going to start by adding 6 ounces of ketchup on top of the beef, and you want to put it in a big roaster. If you have an electric roaster, that's a great thing, especially if you're doubling the recipe for a huge crowd. I do that a lot of times when we're having a lot of people. Then you want to add 1 stalk of celery chopped up pretty fine. And it's nice because it's just a dump dish. So you just put it all in and cook. 1 onion chopped, a medium size, and you can do a little less or a little bit more depending on your family's like. And then you have 3 tablespoons of vinegar. This will help break down the meat. And you want to use white vinegar. And we also use Worcestershire sauce. That one's sometimes a difficult one to say. We use this a lot of times when we're entertaining a lot of people, or even a Sunday dinner when there's 16 of us now. So it's great and it goes a long way, and you just use it on sandwiches, or you want to just eat it plain, you can eat it plain. So 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce also. And then you'll want to salt and pepper to shake, or to taste. So I use cracked black pepper. And I like to use kosher salt. And you want to put a good amount in there. And what you'll do is you'll put this in the oven at 300 degrees, and it's for 6 hours. So it does take a little bit of time, but it's kind of like you put it in and you let it go. Every 2 hours I do pull it out, and I just use a fork to flip the meat because it will start to bake down. You want to make sure that all the meat's in the juices. So I'm going to trade pots. After it comes out after 6 hours, it's super easy. It just pretty much falls apart, and all you do is pull it apart just with 2 forks. And then you can use a hamburger bun or a Kaiser roll or whatever, and you just place it on. A lot of times people like to add mayonnaise, ketchup, or mustard to it. And there you go. It's an easy meal that feeds a lot.
Looks delicious.
I am going to do the next one also. I'm going to do a balsamic Brussels sprouts. And I know a lot of people do not like Brussels sprouts, but this is an easy way. And my oldest son is the only one that eats them with me, but super easy vegetable to cook and very nutritious. So what you want to do is wash the Brussels sprouts. You'll remove the stem. And these Brussels sprouts were pretty big today, so usually I only cut them in half, but today I definitely need to put them in quarters. And so all you'll do is fill a tray with the Brussels sprouts. Just like that. And when you get these loose leaves, they're actually good. They crisp up really well when you bake them, and sometimes those are the best parts. Usually my son Nathan and I, that's the part we go for the most. So I already had pre-cut a lot of these Brussels sprouts. So all you want to do is fill a tray with them. And pretty much a single layer. And you'll want your oven preheating at 450 degrees. And you'll top it with a decent amount of olive oil. And I love to use balsamic glaze. You can use balsamic vinegar, but the glaze just is a thicker taste and it's stronger. So, of course it's not coming out. There we go. And you want to just drizzle it right over top. And really, the recipe called for 2 tablespoons, but you can put on as much or as little as you want. And then all you want to do is toss it so they're evenly coated with the olive oil and the balsamic vinegar. And then you will use some cracked black pepper on top to taste. And again, I like to use kosher salt versus just table salt. You can also use ground salt too. The coarser, the better. So you'll want to just sprinkle a bunch on. And you'll put these in at 450 degrees for about 15 minutes. And they will come out looking like this. And you can see the toasted pieces there. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Patty Jo, and she's going to make some sugar nuts.
Well, hello, I'm Patty Jo, and today I'm going to show you my favorite recipe called sugared nuts. You are going to need 2 pounds of walnuts, 3 egg whites, 2 tablespoons of honey, and also a cup of sugar and a tablespoon and a half of cinnamon. All right, what I'm going to do first is pay attention to my egg whites. I'll put them in my dish like so. And then I'm going to take my honey, and I'm going to put my 2 tablespoons of honey into my 3 egg whites. Just like so. And then I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to lightly mix this. You want it to become frothy and foamy, evenly mixed. It might take you about 2 minutes or so. I have a little album in this one. And it'll get like an amber color when all the honey is mixed into it. So I think you get a pretty good idea how frothy and foamy it needs to be. And then you're going to pour this over your walnut mixture. Then you're going to take your trusty little spatula and you're going to mix this up really well so all the walnuts are thoroughly covered. It's really important that you make sure this step is done very well. Otherwise your sugar and your cinnamon will not adhere to the nuts very well. So I'm trying to do a good job here mixing it all up. It looks like they are. If you will give me a minute. And yes, I feel that they're all wet. Now you're going to take your cinnamon and sugar. Okay, it's already pre-mixed in here. I do want to make sure that it's evenly mixed. So I'll take my fork and mix this around. This will also make sure that all the sugar is granulated, very fine. Sometimes your sugar will get little lumps in it. With your fork, you can make sure that it's all nice and smooth. There's nothing, oh, and I did see a little lump. All right, so we're gonna get it all nice and smooth and really well mixed. And once it's mixed, like so, you're going to then carefully pour it over your walnut mixture, like so. And then you're going to, again, carefully fold it in. Being careful not to break the nuts. You want to make sure your walnuts are mostly whole instead of pieces. And it looks like we have it pretty well mixed up. And this is what it looks like when it's all mixed. Now you're going to take this mixture will fit into 2 pans. So you'll take about 5 cups. And same over here. Make sure they're kind of even on either side. That looks good. You're going to spread this out so it's one layer. Very good, as best you can. You're going to be preheating your oven to 350 degrees. When your pan is, I think I have a few more in here. When your pans are evenly spread, you're going to put them in your 350 degree oven for 6 to 8 minutes. Take them out, stir them well, flatten them out, and put them in for another 6 to 8 minutes. And this is what they look like when they're finished, and they're delicious.
They are delicious. I tried them. My brother-in-law used to make them, but I think I liked yours better.
Oh, well, gee, thank you.
And it's great for the holidays or just to have as a snack, or even it's really almost a dessert in reality.
Great for those football games.
Yes.
All right, we'll see. Thank you. And I'm turning it back over to Nicole.
I'm making a simple peanut butter no-bake cookie. I'm going to start by turning my burner on, and you start by adding the butter, 1 stick of unsalted butter, a half a cup of milk, you're going to add 2 cups of sugar. Now, when I make this at home for my family, a lot of times I'll cut the sugar in half. I've even cut the butter in half to make it a little bit healthier, and I add a little bit more peanut butter to it. It's a personal choice also. If you have a peanut allergy, you can always substitute almond butter with this recipe. You also need 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. And what we're going to do is just stir this. This is a little bit hot. And you just want to combine it so it's thick and the butter is melted, and you can see that the sugar dissolves in the hot mixture. So we just need it to come. You want to make sure it's all combined, and then we'll let it boil for about a minute. And this is great just for an after-school snack. I know that there is chocolate in it, but if you cut the sugar down, it's not as bad for the kids. My one son is peanut-free, so I do an almond butter batch too. The almond butter isn't as great as the peanut butter, but it still is fine. I probably wouldn't cut the butter down when I do the almond butter. So I'm going to let that boil for a minute. And so you just want it to combine. I'm going to get a towel to put this on. It's off. So now it has boiled, and this burner was pretty hot. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'll move it off the heat. And what you want to do now is you're going to add 3 cups of old-fashioned oats. I substitute a lot of times with gluten-free. As you know, a few of my family members are gluten-free, but either one is great. You'll need 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And you will need about a cup of peanut butter. And you also want to use kosher salt again, a good pinch. And I usually use at least 2 because we do like things a little bit more salty. And you just want to stir this together. And the peanut butter gets pretty soft since the chocolate's hot. Now once it's all incorporated, you'll need to get a cookie sheet lined with wax paper, parchment paper, and all you'll need to do is take about a good spoonful of it and you'll place it on the wax paper, just like so. And you'll fill up the cookie sheet, and then you just want it to sit at room temperature for about 30 minutes, and then they'll be good in your refrigerator for 3 days, or what I do is I make a huge batch, throw it in the freezer, and people can grab them as they like it. I wanted to tell Patty Jo, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you at the market.